My name is Gitanshi Nikam and I am pursuing Masters of Computer Application. So I will create this video on the topic virtualization under the guidance of Vivek Srivastav sir. So I will cover the topic in this video. So that is what is virtualization, advantages of virtualization, what is hypervisor, and hypervisor's types, and also types of virtualization, hardware virtualization types, and all. Okay, so this is the first topic. What is virtualization? So, virtualization is usually the process of creating a software based representation of something rather than a physical one. Or we can say that it is a technique in which allow a share single physical instance of an application or resource among the multiple organizations. And it also helps in abstract IT resources from the underlying physical hardware, allows multiple virtual machines to run a single physical instance, and also each virtual machines its own operating system and behave like an independent computer. So this is all about the virtualization. Now, okay, so this second topic is that why virtualize. So there are some points to define why we can virtualize. So for cost efficiency, disaster recovery, and scalability. So cost efficiency means that the capital expenses by consolidating servers, less hardware means lower power and cooling costs. And the disaster recovery means that the virtual machines are easy to backup, replicate, and restore it. Downtime is significantly reduced compared to the physical servers. Scalability, new servers can be spun up in minutes, not days. Resources, CPU RAM can be adjusted dynamically based on the demand. Okay, so now the next topic is that hypervisor. So hypervisor is usually the brain of the virtualization, in which hypervisor or a virtual machine monitor, it also known as virtual machine monitor, that is used to create software and runs virtual machines. It sits between the hardware and the virtual machines and allocating computing resources like CPU, memory, and storage to each guest OS dynamically. Okay, and there are some types of hypervisor, that is bare metal and hosted hypervisor. So bare metal is also known as type 1 hypervisor, and hosted hypervisor is also known as type 2 hypervisor, in which bare metal runs directly on the host physical hardware, while the hosted hypervisor runs an application on the top of the conventional OS. So it is highly efficient and secure, used in enterprise data centers, and examples like VMware EXI, Microsoft Hyper-V, and Citrix Zen Server. So hosted two examples are easier to set up and perfect for testing. Are higher latency due to the extra OS layer, and examples is for examples. VMware Workstation, and Oracle VirtualBox. So these are the example of hypervisor, and this is the difference between bare metal and hosted hypervisor. So there are some core types of virtualization, that is server virtualization, network virtualization, and storage virtualization. So firstly, I explain server virtualization. So what is server virtualization? Server virtualization is related to the server power or processing capabilities. Each virtual server can be run independent of others, and application could be drawing resources from any server. The physical server is divided into different virtual servers by changing ID number. So, and so this is the server virtualization explanation. Now, the network virtualization. So, what is network virtualization? Network virtualization means that we can run multiple virtual networks, can each having separate data lane and control. They coexist on the top of the physical layer, can be managed by different parties. It offers way to provision virtual networks, including routers, switchers, and firewalls, etc. And So this is the network virtualization. Now the storage virtualization. Storage virtualization means that it separates storage infrastructure from underlying physical resources, process of completely abstracting logical storage from physical storage. And it combines a physical storage into one pool of logical storage. So this is all about the storage virtualization. Now we can move towards next topic. So the next topic is that hardware virtualization. Hardware virtualization deep dive. So firstly, explain what is hardware virtualization. Hardware virtualization means that creating a virtual machine over existing OS and hardware is referred to as hardware virtualization. The creation of virtual machine that acts like a real computer with OS. Software executed on this virtual machine is separated from the underlying hardware resources. In hardware virtualization, host machine is actual machine on which the virtualization takes place, and the guest machine is the virtual machine. So there are three types of hardware virtualization, which is full virtualization, para virtualization, and partial virtualization. So what is full virtualization? Full virtualization means that the full virtualization, the hypervisor fully emulates the underlying hardware. Unmodified OS, like the guest OS, is unaware it is virtualized, and binary translation, the hypervisor translates sensitive OS instruction on the fly. And there are some pros and cons of full virtualization. That is high isolation and security provided by the full virtualization, and runs any OS. It can run any OS, and the cons is that slower performance due to emulation and overlap. So this is all about the full virtualization. The next topic is that para virtualization. Para virtualization means that the concept, unlike full virtualization, the guest OS is aware that is running in a virtual environment. It eliminates the need of binary translation, reducing overhead and all. How it works? It works like that guest OS uses hypercalls to talk to the hypervisor, and pros is that much faster than full virtualization or required, but cons is that requires a modified guest OS. Now the para-virtualization. So para-virtualization means that the specific hardware component rather than the entire system. It simulates that. And partial emulation means that the virtual machine simulates key components like CPU, memory, but allows direct access to the physical devices. Address spaces virtualization means that the often implement by the isolating address spaces for different users. Pros, there are some pros of partial virtualization, that is easier to implement, highly efficient, and cons are that typically cannot run complete unmodified operating system. So this is all about the partial virtualization and the types of all virtualization. Now the next topic is, so okay, this is the quick comparison of full virtualization, para virtualization, and partial virtualization. So move towards the next topic.